What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Team on 3 with your host, PD. Today, we're going to kind of break down what the playoff picture looks like and talk about the crazy season that is the NBA. Get my mic a little closer here. And just kind of what I've been seeing. You got some crazy things going on. Mike Malone getting fired, Taylor Jenkins getting fired, and a bunch of chaos moving around. I just want to get my take on that and what kind of this season looked like as a whole, because in reality, it's one of the craziest seasons we got. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Here we go. All right, so here's kind of the rundown. And this is for anybody who has not been paying a ton of attention to the NBA lately. But like right now, we're in a situation where about 3 weeks ago, the Memphis Grizzlies fired their head coach, Taylor Jenkins. When I went into a deep dive on that, I really was thinking about initially like what the issue was, because when I think about the Memphis Grizzlies, their real issue when going into the playoffs was they were a fast-paced team that played good defense, but their half-court offense wasn't good enough to compete in a series against a Nuggets, against a OKC, against a upper echelon team. Like those faster-paced teams are really built for the regular season. So when you go into the playoffs, you need that half-court, really stabling offense that's going to help you win series in crunch time. Now, when I really think about it. They just chose Ja over their coach. And they had an assistant coach they trusted and wanted to hand the keys off to, but they really went into the season being like, we're going to improve our half-court offense. And they did that. Now, it wasn't a jump like you want to see, but at the same time, it wasn't nothing. They were in they were about 15 to 14 area when the year before, I think they were about 24, 25 in terms of rankings in the NBA. So when I think about that, now I'm in another situation now where as of 3 days ago, Mike Malone, the head coach of the Nuggets, has gotten fired. And this is a dude who I look at in a different tier because he's won a championship. Taylor Jenkins came and took a Memphis Grizzlies team who's been solid since he got there. And what they did was they said, we know the stuff you've done. We know that you have coaching staff here. But at the same time, it's like we have a guy who we want to hand the keys off to in Ja. And now because our half-court offense is better and we're now incorporating Jaren Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bane more, Ja is not getting as much showtime plays. He's not getting as many fast break dunks. He's not getting as many chances to do the gun selly. You know what I mean? So now that isn't making them as much money. That isn't giving them enough, media attention. They can still post stuff that's great. They can still get all like their fans are still going to be their fans, but at the same time, people show up to see 2 or 3 guys, and the guy for this team is Ja. So what they did was they chose their player over their coach, and people have been doing that for a while. The Blazers did it with Dame. The Bucks did it with Giannis and Budenholzer. So it's not necessarily that this is a new thing. But at the same time, I look at those and I'm like, this all makes sense. But then I get to a coach like Mike Malone, and I think this guy's won you a championship. He's openly talked about how he didn't like the roster construction. He's kind of an asshole. Like he talks about how players aren't watching film. He talks about how dudes aren't working hard enough. He talks about how they were talking about how he wasn't playing the younger guys because he was like, I'm in a situation where I have Jokic who's about to be who's 30 right now, going to be 31 and going to get a contract extension and stuff like that. And we need to win now. Well, then the organization comes in and says, we just developed young players and we want you to play those guys more. And he goes, I can't do both, and I'm not going to do both. The real interesting part is now I'm really finding out that like as a coach, your job is never safe. I see, and Mike Malone was there for 10 years, right? But like I see teams that are bad give more faith into individual coaches than other teams that are not bad. And of course, I'm not counting, a Lakers team or a Charlotte team or a, those. I'm not counting a couple of different teams, but at the same time, it's like what you have to be of the highest pedigree, and you have a team that the roster construction hasn't been great. You haven't put defensive players around Jokic, who's really a defensive liability if we're being serious. But he's one of the greatest offensive players we've ever seen, not to mention a 6'11", 7-foot guy. But Mike Malone always used him well. And so that was what I thought was so interesting was like you never saw Jokic And I think they just think that Jokic is going to be able to do this no matter what. But when I really take a step back and look at this, it's like this season overall has been chaos, absolute chaos. And I can go into a multitude of things that can show that. But really, what I think about is a couple. Here's what I'm going to say: the coaching firings before the season, the playoffs have started. We haven't really seen that. We've seen it halfway through the season a couple of times, but we're in a situation now where we've had 2 coaches in the last 3 weeks fired within 10 games of the regular season. The Nuggets have 4 games left, 3 games left, and they have 45 wins. No, I think they have 5 games left. So they could get 51, but they're in a 4-game skid. And this is now becoming something that isn't just oh man, that's crazy. Oh man, that's crazy. Like Taylor Jenkins, same, fired 3 weeks before the season was over. That's not something you do, especially as a team that wants to compete. I like, because as soon as I hear that as an individual who's a fan and also someone who pays more attention to basketball than I'd say your average Joe, like, you have now just put yourself into it's a death sentence. It's a death sentence. You've lost the locker room. You have a new person trying to, retake command of the locker room. That takes time. It takes time to get a group of grown men listening to you as a grown man talk about what's going to win us basketball games when these guys all have, a couple of them have their own agendas, but you have guys who are all really, once again, they're like, I have just as much basketball experience as you. I have this, it's just hard to get that many heads to be at the same goal and, working in unison really fast. And it's not going to happen with 5 games left before the playoffs. It's not. So on top of those firings, I look at the Luka deal. I look back and I'm like, if you would have told me that Luka was going to be traded before the trade deadline to the Lakers, I would have said, you've never watched ball before. You're not watching the NBA. What Lakers are you watching? Like, there's a couple of things. I mean, De'Aaron Fox we knew about, a couple of other these we knew about, but like, I look back at this season and we have some of the craziest moments. We have everything that we can ask for as fans to make this the craziest season. But at the end of the day, I look back and I'm still somehow, or I see people still somehow being like, meh, meh. Like, for me, every time I saw that, I'm on the phone, I'm tweeting, I'm texting, I'm doing all these things because I'm freaking out. But I ask other people and they're like, man, that's crazy. Like, what? What are we talking about right now? Like, this is an all-time season in terms of events that have happened. And I think that, and this is where I'm going to try to tie into a big red bow, is like, I look at the East and I look at the West, and I think the West, the reason it makes a little bit more sense, I guess, or the reason that I see it's so drastic is because the Nuggets have lost 4 games straight, and they're now half a game out from the 8 seed. They're the 4 seed. Like, the West is so competitive. My favorite team, the Portland Trailblazers, who play Utah today, have 35, 36 wins, and they're the 10th or the 11th seed. They're the first team out of the play-in. And the Blazers were supposed to have 18 wins at the beginning of the year. So it's like the West is so competitive and so crazy that I think that a lot of these organizations are like, we have all these things in our hand. We have players who are unhappy. We're not winning as much as we should. And it's panic. It's overall just panic. Like, holy, big red button. Big red button. What do we do? And then that causes people to make some, rash decisions. Not think something all the way through. Not understand the gravity of the situation and what you're about to do, because now we have to look at the situation differently, right? I understand that the Nuggets are in a good spot and they have Nikola Jokic, but at the same time, it's like Nikola Jokic is all business, and I don't think that the relationship with him and Mike Malone was bad in any sense. But also, I've seen Jokic visibly frustrated this year. He's dropping 60-point triple doubles and they're losing. I don't know. It's something that I really have had to kind of wrap my head around. And it's all-time chaos. All-time chaos. Teams are making drastic decisions right before crunch time in the season. And it's all because of how good these teams are and how great the NBA is. I know you look at the East and you have a couple of, top, it's top level, or, the big hitters are really at the top, and you have kind of a weaker roster, a weaker lineup towards the bottom. But at the same time, the West is so competitive. And everybody is so competitive. Teams are panicking. Teams are panicking. I honestly would like. There's some things that I could see happening where I'm just not shocked. Like obviously the Luka deal takes the cake. I never would have expected that, but like I don't know. And I also am somebody who goes, I'm not. Once again, I feel like I watch more basketball than the regular individual. So it's like you can't tell me that Jokic didn't know about this before it happened. And I would have told you that Mike Malone and Jokic were inseparable, or their relationship was great. And now where do you go from here? Do you have questions about what if Jokic is going to leave? I would say 2 days ago I would have said he was a Denver for lifer. I would have said he never leaves, and he's playing with a guy Jamal Murray who I in reality think is probably the largest Jokic merchant of all time. He he is a playoff riser and he has proven to be that. But at the same time, you're surrounding dude like your starting five's not terrible. You got Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, Jokic, and Christian Brown. But at the same time, it's like you got Peyton Watson coming off your bench. You got a couple of guys coming off your bench that are in the NBA. You need a specific skill where it's like you need to be able to play defense and space the floor. And a lot of like Peyton Watson can play defense, he can't space the floor. So you haven't connected all the pieces, and the pieces that Mike Malone has wanted, he hasn't gotten, and he's been just openly vocal about that. And the thing that I also think about is like they talked about how they don't want to be. They're like, we're going to make this move at the end of the season no matter what. Why not do it now? It's like, okay, perfect. Now, once again, like they say Mike Malone had already lost the locker room, but like now it's done. You have a couple of guys to look up to. Russ is in that locker room. He's the vet on the team, but like Russ has been equally good than bad this year. During the regular season, he was a positive, and now I've watched him a couple of times choke games, and he's still not an absolute game changer, especially coming into the playoffs. Like, and all of this once again is because of panic. They're panicking. What do we do? How do we make something happen now? What are we going to do next? Okay, we're not going to be able to do anything now. Let's just clean house now. Okay, now where do we go from here? Okay, what do we like you're here hey, take a breath. Calm down. That's it. Take a breath. Calm down. It's okay. Everything's going to be okay. I just think that's a rash decision. And it's something that was unnecessary. Why wouldn't you just let it go the rest of the season? Mike Malone has proven to be a playoff winning coach. I don't know. That's just kind of where my head's at. But I was thinking about this today. I was thinking about what really has made these teams make decisions that they've made, and how other teams can either capitalize on that, or what calls are being made now that these decisions are being made, and what is the buzz around the league, especially that we're going into the playoffs. Like, I don't know. It's crazy. It's insanely competitive. It's insanely crazy. And it's exciting basketball right now. Super, super exciting basketball. Yeah, other than that, not a ton of we're getting to the end of the season in general, so past that crazy news. Once again, past that crazy news. I'm always in a mindset of like, what are the Blazers going to do? How are the Blazers going to capitalize on this? I don't think Mike Malone comes to the Blazers. As much as I would like him to, I think it's more likely Taylor Jenkins makes a move like that. But at the same time, it's like, I love Nate Borkern, our assistant, and Chauncey's really got to earn the job. But I think about what calls are the Blazers making? What are we going to do? How are we going to react to this? What's our look with the draft? Like, what do we see the Blazers doing in that cycle? I don't know. That's immediately where my head goes. And now that we got Blazers got 3 games left. We got Utah, Golden State, and then I think Utah, Golden State, Phoenix, Utah, Golden State, Lakers. I think it's the Lakers. Utah, Golden State, and Lakers. So I want to be, obviously, me being a competitive guy, like I want to be the guy to come in and spoil the party. Hey, there's all these people are half a game between each other in the West. We can really spoil some goods, make some people play people they don't want to play, blah blah blah. That's where my mind goes. I don't know if we'll do that. I don't know what the playoff. I don't know what the rotation is going to be for these last 3 games, but that's what I'd like to see us do. But yeah, other than that, it's just been it's a crazy time. It's a crazy time to talk about NBA. It's a crazy time to watch the NBA. And at the end of the day, apparently, winning a lot and winning a championship doesn't guarantee you a job anymore. So that's about it. That's what I got for today. I'm going to release a couple more of these clips, and we'll see you next time on Team on 3. But thanks for listening. Appreciate y'all.